Hello guys, I hope you're doing well and welcome to my renovation of the 20 Culpepper house apartment located in San Myshuno from the Sims 4 City Living expansion pack. This is part of a series where I go around all of the apartments in San Myshuno and give them a makeover only using base game and city living. Now this apartment is not one that I renovate very often. I think it's because of the vast size of it and the layout that it has. There's also issues with the flooring. I try my very best to try and fix it, and I have in the past. I've tried my best to fix it in the past and it's just never worked before. So please do ignore that. It's right in the sections around the bay windows. The flooring is facing different ways. So if you use carpet, it should be fine. But when I'm using wood flooring that has, or anything that has a grain or a pattern or a direction, it just goes the opposite direction. I've tried so many ways to fix it. Anyway, issues with flooring aside, I actually do think that this apartment is a really good apartment for having families in city living. I think because of the space and the layout and things, it works really well. I haven't messed around too much with the layout in this build. I've just added, as you can see here, a few little cupboards and porches and a little entranceway and things like that, rather than actually changing where the rooms are too much. I have still given them their bedrooms in the same places. I've kept to the townies as well that originally lived here, so it's the chef and his mum. So I do really want there to be a beautiful big kitchen, so that is what I've gone for. I want the kitchen to look like they've just had it redone, so I've made it all modern and stuff, especially because I believe he's definitely a chef. I don't know if she's a chef, but definitely because it has this chef's kitchen lot trait, so I felt like it needs to have some sort of beautiful kitchen. Another thing to note as well is because there's townies already living here, I haven't really stuck to a budget, nor have I given myself one to stick to. So I do use more expensive things. But in my head, if he's a successful chef, he should be able to pay for this beautiful kitchen that I'm giving him. I did start with the kitchen because I wanted it to be the focal point of the build, and I feel like there are many things that have sort of springboarded off of it, like the colour scheme that you'll see in the apartment later on with the blue and the gold and the yellow sort of accents really goes throughout the build. Sometimes I do struggle not to stick to a certain colour palette, but sometimes you just can't help it. I also think I was inspired by the townies outfits as well, because I think the outfit that he wears, I think it's the top he wears, has these sort of colours in it. But I think as well, the tiles, oh my goodness, I think they are gorgeous. Those tiles are completely base game, by the way, completely base game. And I feel like they're so underrated and they have so many beautiful swatches. And because we're doing a base game and city living only series, I feel like you'll see me using them a lot. So I do spend a lot of time on the kitchen because I do just want it to be the focal point of the build, especially because of that lot tray. I just feel like it needs a beautiful and vast kitchen. So I do spend a lot of time perfecting it because I feel like kitchens are sort of the things that I do the same a lot of the time. And using these blue swatches isn't very I don't do that a lot. That isn't very me. I try and use blue because the Sims 4 has some really gorgeous blue swatches in it. But as a colour, I wouldn't personally use blue in real life. So I feel like I do struggle to use it in The Sims, even though there's some really nice swatches. But this whole apartment ends up having that colour scheme because it just looks so nice. And I can't get away from it. There's nothing else that looks nicer, do you know what I mean? So why would I not stick to it? Moving on from the kitchen now, I toy with the idea of having the living area be here, but then it just made so much more sense to have the dining area. So that is what I do instead, and then I put the living area in that separate room just off to the corner there with the archway. And I just feel like it makes so much more sense to have a separate area. And also I can make it a little office space, or maybe they can work in there and they can sort of relax as well. It also makes gameplay a lot nicer too as well, especially if you are moving Sims in here that aren't these townies, because then you can have those separate rooms if you have a bunch of kids and stuff, so it makes a lot more sense. It is quite nice to have no budget on this build, especially after all of the other ones in this area or in this apartment block have been sort of budget builds, especially because they're like meant to be starter apartments, I believe. So that's kind of what I've tried to stick to, whereas this build can be whatever budget I make it, which is quite nice. Obviously, if you're moving your Sims in here, it might be for when they're more established, or you could just use money cheats. I'm not going to shame you for that. I am now moving on to the living area, and you can really see that the whole blue theme goes throughout it. I think one of the reasons that I've done this is because the base game has some really beautiful swatches that all match one another, which is so useful in The Sims. Like, as you can see, the sofa matches that desk there, and it matches the chairs that are outside near the dining room table, and then also the bar stools as well. And I think the kitchen cabinets, like, they're all the exact same shade of blue, which is really, really nice. So why would I not put that through an apartment? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's so fun to do. At some point, I know I have to stop though. So I did swap out those chairs because I thought, we could do something a little bit different. So I added those little chairs that are actually from City Living, and I really, really love them. And I end up using them a lot in like my normal like builds that I do without having pack limitations. I just think they're really, really useful. I'm just filling this little entryway here as well, trying to use different packs and things. Again, objects that will match. I think the reason that I love doing entryways is because sometimes the front door is never what I want it to look like. Like, the front door never matches the rest of the apartment. So having a little entryway will break up the space, as well as making it like not so much of a stark difference. Like, I know in many apartments it's a thing for them not to have an entryway and for the front door to go straight into like a living area or a kitchen, but I just didn't want that in this particular build. I am now working on the bathroom, which this bathroom was huge. In theory, I should have made it a little bit smaller. Like, I really should have, but I did break up the space by making a little shower room. Now, if you have one of the packs that allows you to have just the shower without the cubicle, then you could definitely make that into a really cool functioning shower room. But because I'm just using base game, we've got to make things work. I do try and fill up the bathroom as much as I possibly can with clutter and different objects, add in a bath and things. Now, this would be a great family bathroom to have for your Sims if you were to move a family in here. Like, I think it would be amazing. Even if you just had a couple Sims living here, maybe like roommates or something, it would work really well. Just think it is a really cool bathroom for that. And again, I do use the blue. Side note, those paintings that came with City Living are absolutely gorgeous. So yes, I will be using them multiple times in these series. I am now moving on to the bedrooms, and shock horror, I'm using blue again. I just think it works so well in this apartment. I do really struggle. Once I've got a colour scheme in my head, I just absolutely try and stick to it. Even though both of the bedrooms are blue, of course they are, I do try and make them slightly different in their theming. So his is a lot darker with sort of like the darker tones of woods and things, and hers is a lot more traditional, I'd say. His is a lot more modern with that cool bed that comes with base game. It really reminds me of The Sims 3 actually, that bed, I don't know why. And now I'm finishing up with her room. As you can see, I do use that beautiful bed that comes with City Living. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely gorgeous with the canopy. Oh, it just looks so cool. Like, I wish I had that bed in real life. Like, I really do. Like, how fun would that be? Now, as you can see, even though I use blue in her room, I have tried to make it slightly different. We're going for different theming in here. I don't really know the vibe that I was sort of going with this, but I felt like it worked in the end. I did feel like we got somewhere with it. It was also nice to have a room that wasn't completely blue. And I feel like you guys watching this will be very excited that the room isn't completely blue. as I finish up her room and her ensuite. I hope you guys have enjoyed this build today. My gallery ID will be in the description of this video if you wanted to check it out, or any of my other builds. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching.